Hello, friends. It's your girl, Veniece Antoinette.
And Amomo Chanel.
Here with another episode of Sip and Spill. And today we'll be discussing...
We are discussing breakups. Sometimes it is not so easy. Sometimes you want to get out of a situation and you don't know how to do it. And we are here to help you out. So, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so what do you think is like the first... How do you start? Like, what's the beginning of it? Should you start dropping hints? Should you just come out the gate?
Like, oh my goodness. So first of all, this is such a broad topic because it's like I see, and I've seen a lot of people also make this argument of breaking up in the talking/dating phase versus the relationship phase.
Right.
And I do believe that's two different experiences.
Yeah.
So like when you're talking to somebody but you're not really vibing with them like that, or y'all been on a few dates but you're not really feeling it like that and whatever, I don't feel like that needs an explanation. I feel like that's a scenario where it's like you can just disappear, they'll get the point. Like, because what do you say in that sense? Like, you know what? I'm just not feeling you like that. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
I know I appreciate all the dates you done took me on, but I'm good, brother. I'm good. Like,
no, you are so right. But I don't know. Like, I've been in that situation, but I felt like, oh, well, I feel bad. I have to tell them, like, what's going on. But it's kind of like you don't owe it to them, and they're just going to try to talk you out of it.
Yeah.
So,
because it's like, oh, what can I do better?
Yeah,
and
it's like
I stopped feeling bad after it happened to me, and I was just like, you know what? Since this is the norm,
that's the game.
Since everyone else is on here, why do I need to feel bad?
Yeah.
But then when you talk about an actual relationship, that's different. Or even someone you're talking to, but it's deep enough to the point that someone could misconstrue it as a relationship.
Right.
I do believe those also deserve an explanation. But specifically speaking on relationships, I feel like when you and that person are breaking up, in my personal opinion, it's never out of nowhere. Like, there was a series of events that led to that. Right. Like, you and or that person had to be unhappy for an extended period of time for you to decide, all right, this is the final straw for me. Because it's never like one thing happens and then it's like, oh, I'm done. Like, it's usually either a series of events or y'all are just going with the motions, but it doesn't really feel like a relationship anymore. Yeah. What would you say?
I would say the same. I was in a situation where I felt like it hit me all at once, but if you think back on it, it's only because I just got tired of the same thing happening over and over again that I thought I was willing to accept, and then it all just became too much. So yeah, it's built up over time, and I feel like honestly both of y'all can probably feel that. If you're really like in tune like the way you should be, it shouldn't really be out of nowhere for either of you.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I definitely don't think breakups come out of nowhere. It always makes sense when it does happen. Now, whether you agree to break up is a different story, but the breakup itself always makes sense because it doesn't pop out of nowhere. So
it doesn't. You should be able to sense that your partner's unhappy or you being unhappy. Y'all should kind of feel that.
Now, the complicated area, because of our generation being in this like talking phase, you can be talking to somebody and y'all are on two different pages where in your mind y'all are moving towards a relationship or getting like connected and start acting like you're in a relationship, where the other person's mind, it's more of like, oh, I'm just doing this for now until blah 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 blah. Yeah. So in that scenario, how do you think the breakup or the ending of that should go? Because you're not in a relationship, but you are kind of past the whole like first, second, third date, like talking beginning phase. So
I think that's where communication becomes clear. That's where the person who knew they didn't want to be in a relationship should have just said that from the jump. And if anybody assumed anything after that, that's kind of on them. If that person wants to go MIA on you, they have the right to, because they let you know they didn't want a relationship.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I feel like now I feel ridiculous saying now that I'm older because we're still young. Like, we're
But
still
we've been
in our early
younger
20s.
and dumber.
Right. But we have been younger and dumber.
Yeah.
But as I'm getting older, I'm realizing how important it is at the beginning to communicate. Because at the beginning, so many people are afraid to communicate what they want, what they're looking for, what they're not interested in. But if you communicate and set boundaries at the beginning, that eliminates that area for you.
Yeah, and it's respectable. Like, even if somebody's telling you something that, you know, wouldn't be the norm to say, like, I can respect that. Like, I'm glad you are not into wasting my time, or, like, building a dream and ruining my life.
Leaving me all this hope.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's respectable to me. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah. So I think that just having that conversation up front eliminates even the consideration of a breakup occurring. Like, if y'all both can agree on being in the same space, or y'all decide it's not for you, then, you know.
No, what about that guilt, though? We all have a little bit of guilt. Like, what
Absolutely.
if you have let somebody know, I'm not in that space right now, but they are just, like, really feeling you, and they don't really feel it when you kind of fall back because you feel like they're feeling it a little more. Should you feel bad about that, or?
Well, like you said earlier, I will put that on the person. And I feel like all of us have been in that space before where somebody told you up front, like, I'm not looking for a girlfriend, or I'm not looking for a boyfriend, but because you vibe with them so well and grew to like them, you kind of, like, blindly ignore what they said, and you think that you can be the one to,
the one.
right. Like, you gonna be the one to change their decision. And so in that sense, even when I look at myself when I was in that scenario, I can't be the victim in that, and nor can I really blame him for that. I mean, yeah, he continued it, but he told me up front that he wasn't looking for that. So I can't be mad at him when he was honest with me from the front that I'm not looking for a relationship, and I still continue to pursue it just because I vibed or I liked him.
Right. No, that's so true. So
Yeah.
if you've been honest, you really shouldn't feel any guilt. You just have to accept that's the game. That's just how
But
it
I
goes.
will say, though, for me, I don't know if this is just because I'm a female, but for me, if I know someone, like, really wants to be with me and I'm not in that space, I can't carry them along.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
If you feel somebody's vibes are really strong and they're talking about, like, a future and we and family, and you know you're nowhere near that, you probably should just avoid that from the start as early as possible.
Yeah, because I just feel like it's going to hurt them in the long run. And it's also going to hurt you because you are going to feel guilty.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like anybody doesn't feel guilty in that scenario. Even when they try to play hard, I don't feel like anyone doesn't feel guilty.
That's a good point. If you got a heart, a little bit of a heart, you gotta feel something. I would hope.
Right.
At least.
So what do you feel about the argument of going into a breakup slowly?
I've received that advice before.
Talk about it.
I was in a situation I wanted to get out of, and I had advice that, you never just cut anybody off immediately. You know, you do it slowly. It was a situation where nothing had been, like, overtly done wrong to me. You know, when somebody, like, cheats or something, it's easier to get out of it, but it was just a situation I didn't want to be in anymore. But in my head, I was like, I don't want to do this slowly. Like, I just want to be done. And honestly, if someone were to break up with me, I would want it to be done. Just be honest with me. Just do it. Like, don't tell me you just want space but still want to be together, because it's false hope.
Yeah.
I honestly think you should just cut and dry. What do you think?
I agree with that in that sense, but also in the point I made earlier about breakups don't just happen overnight. So you already are slowly breaking up with that person. That's in my
true.
mind. It's just that you have to come to your, like they always make that funny phrase about an angry black woman when she's tired. But in the sense of a breakup, just not even just an angry black woman, but people in general. It's like when they're tired, they are tired. So when you get to the point where you're tired, there's things that happen that were tiring you out to make you tired.
Exactly.
So that alone was a slow process.
That's true.
It's like when people say that to me, sometimes I'm kind of like thrown off, because it's like, how can you say I should slowly break up with somebody when this has been occurring for this amount of time to lead to this moment now. So
yeah, and when I go back to that situation, that person knew that I was feeling that way. Like it wasn't just me, like they could feel that because they made an action to respond to the way I was feeling or whatever. But you can pretty much trust if you're fed up, if you're with somebody that actually is in tune with you, they can feel that. So it's not going to be like a shocker to them when you tell them.
So when you do break up with somebody, how do you go about it?
That's a good question. My one true breakup was like, obviously, duh, we're breaking up.
Ain't no questions here. Like,
yeah, it was like that type of situation. But I don't know. That's a good question. I think that I would honestly be honest and be cut and dry, but be honest without being cruel at the same time. I never want to break anybody down, but I'm not into making up a lie. Because if I care about you, I really want you to know where I'm coming from. What do you think?
So for me, the one I'm going to speak about it was a specific scenario, like I stated earlier, with you're past the beginning dating talking stage, but you're not in a relationship stage.
Right.
So he and I were in the middle of dating, and I mean in the middle of like that in between stage, and he wanted to, be in a relationship. He cared for me more than I cared for him, but I knew that I was never going to care for him as much as he did for me. I never was going to like him more than I was never going to like him as much as he needed. And I didn't want to keep leading him on and making him feel like we were building into this relationship that was never going to happen. And I had told him before I didn't want to be in a relationship, but at that point, like, he just kind of felt like he was going to change my mind. Yeah. So when I broke up with him, I talked to him and I pretty much told him, like, straight up, like, I do not want to hurt you. And if we continue this, I'm going to end up hurting you unintentionally. So I would prefer to end this for you to find somebody who's in the correct mind space and better for you than me. And he was hurt. He was hurt, obviously, but he later thanked me for, being upfront with him, because he was a very good person. Like, he treated me very well, but at that time, I just was not in that space for that to work. So
sometimes it's like that.
Yeah, and so I just had to be very honest and upfront with him, and I really did not want to hurt him.
Sometimes it's good that you have someone that accepts it. Like, he could have said, well, I don't care. Like,
well, I didn't really give him a choice. That was also a thing. I knew that if I gave him a choice, or if I left any type of hope in that, he was going to try to fix it. Like, he was talking about coming up to my school and trying to, and I pretty much had to, like, give him no other choice, because I knew I was going to end up hurting him if we continued. So I had to end it.
No, so that's a good key then. Just being, like, just firm on what you're saying, no hope. And then, like you said, giving him no choice. I think that leads into also, don't agree to a friendship right away, because that's never going to happen.
I think everyone needs space after a breakup.
It's never going to happen. Every time y'all get together for dinner or drinks, like, it's just always going to lead back. You're going to be back.
Like, I feel like it can happen, but you need a very long break in between. And what everyone considers long is different, but you definitely need an extended period of time. Yeah. Whatever that time frame is for you, it definitely, in my opinion, needs to be more than 6 months. But you definitely need that time to, and then you can consider,
a possible friendship, because you've had time to, like, think about this person in a rational way, and not, once you're used to being with somebody in a certain way, it's hard to get back with them and be around them without treating them like your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Like, you're going to do the same thing, you know what I mean? You're going to get close, and you don't know how to be around them without being intimate for a while. So and also, right after a breakup, even if one person isn't interested anymore, one of you is. So somebody's going to try that. Somebody's going to try it, and feelings are always going to linger a little bit in the person who lost interest. Right. So it won't be hard to spark that, at least for
a night.
Yeah. So don't just cut it and dry. Give yourself at least 6 months, and then maybe think about being friends if that's what you want to do.
Do you have any like memorable breakups that you care to share?
I have a very memorable breakup, and it was very dramatic. Let me just say that it was lots of drama, lots of screaming. But the mistake I made in that breakup was like, all right, so the first month I said, I'm done, and then thought that maybe I could just be friends or like keep in touch casually. No,
Dead.
That's dead. That's done. That's all. I'm not really gonna say too much more.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
For me, my most memorable breakup is so weird because it was one of the best days I had and ended up the worst day of my life that day. So it was like my ex-boyfriend, what he did was the day he broke up with me, and obviously I had no idea he was going to break up with me, but the day he broke up with me, he had like a Veniece day, and we did literally everything I had been wanting to do that day. So we got up early, we went on like a walk along the riverfront, we went miniature golfing, he bought me like a dress and took me out to like, different places I wanted to go. Yeah. And then finally we went to this, he took me out to dinner at this restaurant that I loved. And so this whole time, like, I'm just so excited. Like, I'm just having such a good time. We're laughing, joking. And so when he takes me home from, like, he was dropping me off at home after he took me out to dinner, that's when he broke up with me. And I was just so confused by that because that was a scenario where I can honestly say I did not see that coming. Like, and I later found out it was very petty and we got back together. But at that moment, I was just like, I was so distraught because I was just like, you just gave me like the best day of my life.
Yeah, like,
and then you break up with me?
That is so like.
And then it ended in so much drama. It was just tears and oh my God. But like, and then I remember at that time I was talking to somebody about it and they were like, well, Veniece, I mean, he was a gentleman about it. You can't really be that mad. And it's like, he was, but that's what makes me even more mad. Like, you gave me an amazing day. Like, that's such a weird, like.
It is so weird. Like, how did you sit with me and laugh and smile and chill and you knew.
That's like a huge mind fuck. That's what that is. Like,
I wouldn't trust somebody after that. Yeah. I'd be like, what are you really thinking? I'd like to know we're on the same wave. But that leaves the question, what's your ideal way to be broken up with?
That's what I was thinking, though, because when I think about it, all my other, like, any other breakup I had was awful compared to that. So it's like, that was really, like, my ideal breakup.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like,
I don't think there is an ideal breakup. I think the only ideal breakup is when it's a true, and I mean true, because I've only seen this once where it was true, but a true mutual agreement.
Yeah.
That's the only way that I think is going to end with like no drama, no.
Yeah, but let's say it's not mutual. Would you want to be met up with? Like, would you want to be taught over dinner, over the phone? Would you want him to come to your house? Would you want him to tell him to come to, would you want him to tell you to come to his house? I'm trying to think. I don't know.
I definitely would not want it through text message because I think that's disrespectful.
Definitely. For sure.
It would have to be at least over the phone.
I think I would want him to come by. Okay. Don't tell me in public.
Yeah, do not break up with me in public.
Don't have me come to your house.
Yeah, don't.
And drive home all distraught.
Yeah, right. You can drive yourself home.
Yeah, come to my house and leave me to just put myself together and not be in public and have to deal with anything. That's what I feel like. I would like him to say, oh, I want to come by real quick. I got to talk to you about something.
Yeah, I think I might prefer the phone.
Really? Because
I don't think I'll be able to hold myself together if it was face to face. Like, I could, but something would.
I wouldn't hold myself together.
Yeah, my emotions and Yeah, I don't think like if it was like a real breakup, there was no, I don't know if I would necessarily want that face to face. Like,
I would want him to look me in the eyes and tell me, like, at least, because if it's a true breakup, we've been like, you know, we've been through some things, and I feel like at least be able to look me in my eyes and tell me what's going on. And then I would also, you have to be able to accept it when somebody breaks up with you. Like, don't say, well, but I could and we could. Like, just accept it. Because even if they agree to it, you just accept it. Because it takes a lot of courage to do that.
No, I can respect that. That's so difficult.
It is.
That's difficult. Because it would emotionally be probably harder for me face to face. But
yeah,
I also do see, like you're saying, the whole looking me in my eye and doing it, because if you are going to break up with somebody, I do feel like if you look them in the eye, that just means, I don't know, man.
I just would respect it. Like,
yeah,
you came here and you know, look me in the eye, and I can, because what if you, like, don't really believe what they're saying? Like, what if they tell you something and you're like, well, is that really true? Is he just trying to, like...
So you want to make sure it's sincere?
Yeah, I just want a sincere breakup.
Okay, I can respect that. I could definitely respect that. I don't know what I would want my ideal...
But it's not ideal, like you said. So
yeah,
I would still be hurt.
Yeah, that's why I said a mutual would definitely be the ideal situation. But yeah, outside of that, how would you want to break up with somebody? Like, would you want to go to them and sit down and...
Yeah, I would do it in person. And where would I do it?
See, I would get so tight-chested, like...
You will. Like, I'm not going to say I wouldn't. I definitely would be. Like, it would be hard to do. I've had a hard time telling somebody I just didn't want to talk to them anymore. So I know that it would be hard to...
I know for a fact that if I did it face-to-face, just because I know myself, I get very intimidated when I'm face-to-face with whoever I'm dating. And I communicate a lot better through writing. So, for me, I probably would either have to... break up with them first over the phone or in person, and then follow that up with a letter explaining myself.
That makes sense.
Because otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get everything out. Like, and what I would be saying wouldn't make sense to them in that moment.
Yeah, that's the good part about it, because then you've, like, relayed the initial thought, and then they've had time to sit with it, and then you can give them a further explanation that they'll probably be more open to receiving. So what if, like, the thing you're breaking up with somebody with about was hurtful? Do you feel like you need to explain that, or is it better just left unsaid?
Yeah, it depends on what it is. Like, if it's sex, I don't think that needs to be brought up, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. That's something that is just too much of a blow to the ego, and there's no point in saying it, really. Just move on. Like that's it. But what if, like, somebody's not driven enough? Do you say, like, I don't feel like you really driven or going nowhere, and I don't want to be connected anymore?
That's a hard one. That's a hard one, because it's like, for me personally, if I'm dating someone I didn't feel like was driven enough, I would be trying to push them.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't push someone who's not going to want to be pushed.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, like, I know friends that are in situations, they're trying to push somebody, and then the guy just gets offended. Because he's like, I'm doing me. Like, I don't need you to tell me how to do me or whatever. But I feel like, honestly, what I would say is I feel like we could be a lot more than what we are together. I feel like I see a lot of opportunities that you're not taking, and it possibly could be because we're together. So if I need to step back to give you the space to do that, then, you know, that's what I'm going to do. I feel like
that just leaves so much hope.
That's true.
And you can't leave hope in a breakup. Like, I do feel like, though, a lot of women have that scenario because we have a tendency of dating men because of the potential we see in them.
Yes.
Whereas men, more so, they don't really... Actually, no, I can't really say that. But we definitely date a lot off of like the potential we see in somebody.
Yes, we want to
and when we don't see them going towards the potential, we kind of get disappointed in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have to kind of knock us as women for doing that, because you can't expect somebody to be something that they never presented to you.
Exactly. Just because you want that to be one day doesn't mean did they ever say that's what was going to happen?
Right.
Or even if they maybe said it to get you initially, does it look like that's what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just go off of hopes and dreams.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So in that scenario, that's part of the reason why I don't think I would say anything. Because if someone's not driven in a relationship, it's one thing if they were and then fell off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like as a girlfriend, whatever it was that made them fell off, you are to help them get back to where they were at.
Agreed.
But if they were never driven, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had an expectation of them that they never had for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I don't even think it's a point in having that conversation of like, I don't think that you're driven or whatever, however you want to word it, because they were never there to begin with.
Mm.
And they need to get there themselves, and you can't be the person to push them there.
Exactly. You can't do anything for anybody that they won't initially want for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So do you just say, I'm not happy in that situation, or?
Yeah, I mean, however you want to twiddle your thumb. I honestly don't know what I would say. I just know I don't think I would be able to come out and say to them that they weren't driven enough, because I would take that on myself. And in that sense, I might honestly hit them with something that would come off like it's me, not you, because it would be me. Because I had that expectation of you that you never had for yourself. So
my issue, I be like worrying about people once we're done. So even if I'm like free of them, I would still be like, man, like he really could be doing this, and I want him to do it, and I want to express that to him at some point. But I see what you're saying about leaving hope, because he'll feel like, oh well, if I go do this or try to get this job, then maybe we could be back together. Like, don't do it for me, but I don't know. I guess that's
in that sense, you just have to let people just find their own drive. Honestly,
you can't take on everybody's problems. That's true.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up today's episode of Sip and Spill. Today's lessons are: when you are breaking up with somebody, try to be as honest as possible and leave as little hope as possible, because people in love hold on to hope, and that's a fact.
Yes.
Also, try to take a break. At least 6 months is my suggestion.
At least.
I've tried 3, never long enough. I need at least 6.
Yes.
And just give it some space, and then maybe y'all can consider a friendship, but don't immediately try to be friends after a breakup.
Not gonna happen.
Any other lessons you want to pin out?
No, that's pretty much it. Just be cut and dry, not too cruel.
Get to the point.
Yeah.
So, again, thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button below and give this video a big old thumbs up. And we will be back next Wednesday at noon. And also make sure you check us out live on Thursdays. We'll be on Facebook Live and Instagram Live at Sip and Spill. Thanks again, and until next time, bye-bye.